All right, a completely different version of the AI Coder Cursor has just been released, and let me tell you, it's not just an update, it's a total rethinking of how we're going to code. The performance is, to be honest, just insane. So today, we're putting Cursor 2.0 through its paces to see if it really has what it takes to knock the current king of AI development off its throne.
You know, this huge update brings up the one big question. Is it finally time for all of us developers to switch from the tools we know, like Cloud Code? Well, the answer, it's not as simple as you might think. Okay, so first things first, let's break down what actually makes Cursor 2.0 so radically different. This isn't just a few new features. It's a fundamental change in the entire philosophy of AI coding.
And this right here is the core shift. See, Cursor 1.0 was all about making your code editor a little bit smarter. But 2.0, it changes the whole game. You're not really a coder anymore. You're a manager of these autonomous AI agents who are doing the coding for you. And that's a huge deal because it points to a future where development is less about typing out lines of code and more about high-level strategy and just telling the AI what to build.
This whole new philosophy is really built on 4 key ideas. First, the interface actually hides the code files by default, so you're just focused on directing the agents. Second, you can have a bunch of these agents working at the same time. Third, and this is a really big strategic move, they built their own in-house AI model they're calling Composer. And finally, you can even make different models compete against each other on the same problem to see which one does the best job. How cool is that?
So the big question is, how good is this new Composer model really? Well, according to Cursor's own benchmarks, it's nearly as intelligent as the best models out there, but it is way, way faster. It's just built for pure speed. But, you know, as with all company benchmarks,
Yeah, you've got to be a little skeptical. I mean, of course, every company is going to show you data that makes their own model look amazing. That's why benchmarks don't really mean much until you see the tool in action for yourself.
And that's exactly what we're about to do. Enough talk, let's see how all this actually holds up when we try to build a complete application right from scratch.
So the prompt we gave it is pretty simple, but it's also pretty challenging. We asked the AI to build us a stock portfolio app. This is going to test everything: its technical chops with APIs, data visualization for the charts, and even its design taste. You know, can it actually make something that looks genuinely beautiful and is a pleasure to use?
And the result of that prompt? This number. That's 10,000 lines of code, and the new Composer model generated all of it in just over 1 minute. The speed is, and there's no other word for it, absolutely incredible. But speed doesn't mean a thing if the code doesn't actually work. And of course, just like in the real world, the first result wasn't perfect. So this brings us to a super important moment. How does this new agent-based system handle its very first bug?
The first thing it spit out was, well, it was running, but it looked awful. The styling was just completely busted, making the whole app totally unusable. It's a really common problem, but it's a great test for an AI's debugging skills.
So we just gave the agent a screenshot of the broken app. And what happened next was honestly pretty impressive. The AI looked at the image, and it correctly figured out that it had used a brand new version of a styling tool, one that it didn't fully understand yet. So it decided on its own to downgrade to a more stable version, and then it reapplied all the styling correctly, all by itself.
And after that little self-correction, boom, we had a beautiful, functional, and really well-designed application. So yeah, it stumbled a bit at first, but it recovered like a champ, which is a very, very promising sign. All right, now for the main event. We have a working app, so it's time to test Cursor 2.0's biggest promise, managing an entire army of AI agents all working at the exact same time. So we spun up 4 separate agents and gave each one a totally different new feature to build, all at once. We asked for a combined portfolio chart, a way to track shares, a total value display, and a market overview panel. The real question was, are they going to step on each other's toes and just break the whole app?
And the answer was a resounding no. All 4 agents finished their complex tasks in parallel with 0 errors or conflicts in about a minute. This right here is where that agent manager idea really proves itself. It was just a spectacular display of what this thing can do.
So, after seeing all that in action, from the mind-blowing speed to that powerful multi-agent system, it's time for the final verdict. How does Cursor 2.0 really stack up against the reigning champ, Claude Code?
Let's break it down, head to head. When it comes to speed, Cursor 2.0 is the undisputed champion. It's just unbelievably fast. For initial code quality, though, Claude Code still has a slight edge. It usually gets things right on the very first try. For user experience, it's kind of a toss-up. Cursor has this fantastic interface for managing agents, but Claude gives much clearer, more detailed explanations of what it's doing. And finally, mobile access, well, Claude has it and Cursor doesn't, and that is a huge advantage.
Look, Cursor 2.0 is a massive leap forward. It's an incredibly impressive tool, and the gap between it and the top-tier models has closed a lot. But for right now, Claude Code's slightly higher quality code and its clearer explanations, well, they keep it on the throne, for now.
But that lead is shrinking, and it's shrinking fast. So that leaves a really interesting question for you. When you start your next project, what are you going to choose? The proven, high-quality output of the tools you already know? Or are you going to bet on the unbelievable speed and the brand new workflow of Cursor 2.0? The choice is going to be yours.